Hey y'all, I'm gonna start a new series, kind of requested series by a bunch of people for quite a while now. Now that I'm not competing in rodeos anymore, I really have a lot more time, and I'm currently have 2 projects, and I believe we finally found a horse that's gonna actually work for us, so that means I'll have another 3rd project coming. So I'll have a lot of videos and a lot more time to get like things filmed and some training videos out. So today we're just gonna do a video with Lakota. I'm sorry about the background noise. I really don't have control about the background noise right now. But today we're just gonna film with Lakota and do a little bit of a training video with her and just spend some time with her, since not that many people really get to see her because I don't really do a lot with her, and whenever I do something with her, it's quite boring, it's not very fun, and I usually don't film it. So here is Lakota behind us. She's kind of hiding, but yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of do a little bit of work with her, talk about like kind of my requested thing about what I'm doing with her, like raising her, and what I would recommend doing kind of with like a yearling, long yearling, kind of just the like yearling to 2-year-old time frame. So I'm just gonna do that with her, and then we're gonna spend some time just hanging out with her after her session, and just what I would normally do after a session with all my horses. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll try to keep it short. The first 10, actually probably more like 12 minutes of this video is really just me talking about like what my future is with her and what I would recommend doing with different ages as they grow up and mature. This is all just my opinion and what I would do with my babies, and I wouldn't do anything else with them. Everybody has their own starting ways, but this is just how I do it. Hopefully in a couple weeks I can start doing a couple more videos and do some more filming, mainly with Bullet, because Queenie is still on rest for an injury right now. So you'll get to see basically all of my horses in these videos. Right now you're mainly just gonna see Bullet and Lakota in videos probably until October, and then hopefully I'll have Queenie back. But yeah, I'll stop talking and I'll actually get into this video for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let me know what I should do for videos in the future. I already have a couple of requests, but I cannot do anything right now because the rain is terrible and the ground is just inches of mud right now. Otherwise I'd be working on some more videos. Hey y'all, so I was like kinda requested, like I've been requested stuff like this so many times, but I never actually do them. But I just happen to have like plenty of open time, just a lot of time to really edit this and get this video out, so I thought that I might as well do it. So yeah, this video is basically with Lakota, and Lakota is, I think it's the 30th today. I'm not exactly sure if it's 30th or not, but pretty sure she's 7 months on September 5th. I really don't know how many months she is, but she just turned 6 months old not that long ago, and just kind of show like the process and talk about the process of what I'm going to do training my filly forward, and what I've done in the past 6.5, 7 months of her being alive, pretty much. Just straightforward. I do not start horses before they are 3. I do not start hard work. I do not do barrels. I do not do anything until their 4-year-old year, and really I just don't do anything until their 5-year-old year. So yeah, I pretty much spend like the first 2.5 years of my babies' lives just getting them started, spending time with them, letting them grow, and at the same time doing like training with them and prepping them for that first ride. So like basically, so basically kind of what I start is first 6 months of their life is just basic handling, basic skills, things that they're gonna need their whole entire life, whether they're retired or who knows, like just basic care. So things like halter breaking, leading, standing tied, picking their feet up, standing for the farrier, the vet. Hi. Oh, speaking of the vet, you need your vaccines. Crap. Last time I checked, she was just born yesterday. What are we doing? And then just kind of, I like to introduce them to the hose. probably around like 4 months old. If you can do it sooner, great, but Lakota was a February baby, and my other baby, I got her when she was like 3.5 months old. So I didn't really have those options. I just like to spray them down from like an early, you're okay, it's your mother. I just like to spray them down from an early age where I can literally hold them in place, because most of the times when I'm working with a baby or a young horse, they do not want to stand for water. They think that it will kill them. So I like to just be able to hose my horses off for the first time when I can still pretty much force them to stand still and not bite, kick, jump on me, pull back, anything, and when they don't have any bad habits. And same with tying, I like to just kind of introduce it. I'll kind of just take their rope and just do that for the first couple months of their lives. She's like, oh, you know, holding on to me. I don't really have like super crazy timelines. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that are like breeding their own horses, or a lot of people that are getting reservation horses that weren't supposed to be pregnant and they haven't ended up being pregnant. So yeah, I like to just tie them from an early age, because then they know what it is and they're not gonna like disrespect it. Like Lakota, I can leave her tied for an hour. She'll find a way to entertain herself. She won't pull back. I don't really know if she's ever really pulled back, actually. I think she's just kind of got it really straight from the get-go to stand tied. So she pretty much still stand tied all day, even being a baby, and that's like one thing that I really think is important before they're like weanlings. Not everybody has that option, so kind of get when it's not having that option and not doing that. But picking their feet up also from like a very young age, just like basic handling skills, and just pretty much anything that your horse is going to need the rest of their lives, because then it's drilled into their foundation and they're going to grow up with it and they're not going to see anything different. The next, when I start after like 6 months to like a year laying, which is the stage that she's at, I'll kind of start introducing some like groundwork and just basic manners. Usually I will wait till probably like closer to 12 months to start any sort of like groundwork with them, but this horse is high maintenance. She's got no manners for anybody else besides herself, and half the time she has no manners for herself even. So I mean, I just do basic, mainly just walking. I've done a little bit of trotting with her, but I'll lunge her and just teach her to like walk, and I'll teach her to stop and turn and like change directions, and occasionally I'll ask for a little trot with a stop, just like a quickie, probably like 1 circle and then stop. So I like to do that just to kind of give them the basics. And then I would say probably basic manners would go into like their first 6 months of like yielding and backing up too. But I want to enhance that. I want to make it to the point where I can just like do that. I didn't even touch her there. I literally just put my hand on her like that and she moved. So I really want to be able to work on yielding and backing up. I want to work on that. I want to work on like shoulder yielding. I kind of want to enhance like the basics of just like walking, stopping, and just getting everything really good and well mannered. So I really just don't do too much between basically 6 months and 12 months. It's just kind of the basics. Okay, she ditched me. She doesn't want to be here anymore. She's gonna go try and open gates and play with random stuff that she finds, like pine cones. Moving on to like a yearling stage, I basically just keep the same thing. I keep touching up on their basic manners and their lunging, and then I will kind of do a little bit of walk trot. Obviously, I'm not doing groundwork like every day of their lives. I usually do groundwork like once a week with Lakota, and I will keep that the same until her 2-year-old year. Lakota's probably in work like 2, maybe 3 weeks of a month, and the rest of the time, I mean, within August, I've probably only lunged her like 3 or 4 times, and that's just kind of been just kind of touching up on her little manners. Yearling, I'll introduce like walk trot on a lunge, maybe towards the 1.5 year mark, or probably closer to like a 2-year-old. Honestly, I would maybe introduce the canter once or twice, but I wait till the 2-year-old year generally. But it just, you can introduce it and see how they take to it. But yeah, oh, what did I do? Oh, you're gonna block me. Don't. Yo, hello. Stop it. I'm gonna go chew on the tap, aren't you? I'm gonna start kind of introducing kind of just different desensitization things. Just kind of play around with them, put like live stop pads on their back. Just kind of stop eating everything. Just kind of keep the basics. Walk trot on the lunge line, and this is when I would start maybe introducing 2 times a week lunging. By the time moving on to like a 2-year-old year is basically, no, that's my Celsius. One thing about Lakota, she likes Celsius, and I have to hide this from her, where she's going to eat it. Please don't eat everything. For the 2-year-old year, I wouldn't split it in like 6 months, and then another 6 months. I just kind of don't. So I'll kind of just like straight off the bat, I'll kind of just hop on 3 or so times throughout the year, bareback and a halter while they're eating or something, and I'll just sit on them. And I'll just sit on them for like probably 5 minutes. So basically 1 time it's spring, 1 time it's summer, 1 time it's fall, and then turn them out for the winter to grow pretty much. Just to expose them to weight. Do you want some Celsius? Yes, you would. Yeah, you would. Okay, that's what you get. That's all you get. You have way too much Celsius in your system. You need to take a... Did you just get in my hair? You need to take a chill pill. So, yeah. And then this is when I'll start introducing the saddle, the bridle. I'm gonna have Celsius all over my leg. No, stop. Those are mine. Okay. So, I'll put like a saddle pad on them, and then I'll put a saddle on them. I start my horses bitless instead of in bits, so I'll put a bitless on them because it's seriously nothing to do with a halter. Stop. It's literally just a halter with a little bit more weight. I'll maybe probably put some like bell boots, some sport boots on them just to expose them. And we're gonna go up to the fly spray now. Okay, why? And just desensitize them. I'm gonna desensitize them for the first like 2-3 years, up until like forever pretty much. So desensitizing them to like tarps and loud noises, fast movements, anything that they could spook from. And we just talked a bunch of stupid stuff over a bunch of just things that could go wrong if they're not supposed to in the saddle. So yeah, and I will not cinch my 2-year-olds up. I might cinch them, like put the cinch against them, but not make it tight to the point that like, so I will like take the cinch and I'll cinch them up, but it will be so loose that I could literally take my hand like this and put it between their stomach and the cinch, because I do not want to like put a tight cinch against my horses while their rib cage is still developing, because that's just gonna mess their rib cage up. Alright, we're knocking more things over. Do not leave this fully unattended. And hi, are you being trouble? And that's pretty much the like 2-year-old year. Towards the end of like your 2-year-old year, I would say putting some like pressure, like kind of just taking your hand on the rein and sliding it like that and asking them to like turn, and then putting like your hand against like their side where your foot would be to get them used to that like foot pressure, towards like when they're almost 3. And then when they're 3 years old, I will actually start them under saddle. I'll typically start them in the summer and go until probably like the beginning mid-fall before I turn them back out to go for the winter. And I'll put probably like 30, typically 40 rides, depending if the horse is just needing a little bit more time to get solid walk, trot, canter. And then towards the end of like starting them, I'd start them on the pattern, just like a light trot, maybe 5 times, trot through it 5 times, and then turn them back out for the winter to go. That way they kind of, their body learns, but their body isn't being pressured or pushed into it. I bring them back in like April. The 4-year-old year, I'm gonna just bring them back in the saddle, walk, trot, canter. That's when the weather starts getting pretty nice for us, and then I'll start riding them probably beginning of the year. I'd probably go like 3 times a week, and I'd ride them like that, like 3 times a week, and then lunge them 2 times a week. So they're still getting a good amount of work, but they're not having weight on their back every single day that they get worked. So I'll bring the saddle pad. No, that's a saddle. And I'll start patterning them that year. The futurity pen is not something that I'm like thinking a horse needs to be in. Like, they're still growing at that age, so there's really no point. So I'll get them patterned lightly, just some walk, trot. I'll add some cantering, not a lot. And then in the summer, when I start just adding some speed, like probably around like June, July, probably more towards like July, I'll start hauling them out to races and doing some like expeditioning, get them really solid. Once they get that speed down in like new pens, please don't bite me, then probably around like October, November, I'll take them to like a futurity and do like 1, 2, maybe 3 futurities, and just get them kind of started in the racing pen. And then I'll pretty much just, I don't know, honestly, I'll probably just turn them out for like December, January, bring them back in like February or March, depending on when the weather gets better and it's not so icy. Basically what I do with my other horses, I'll kind of keep them under saddle, but I won't really ride them. So yeah. And then when they're probably like 5, then I would say sure, start holding them, but don't run their legs off. Start in the roping pen, start them in like poles, anything you really want to start them in, but don't run their legs off. You can race them probably like twice a month. I wouldn't do like every weekend because horses do grow till they're 6. So yeah, that's pretty much just how I raise my horses and start them. Queenie is kind of that same concept, even though she turned 5 in the summer of this year. I believe she's more like an August baby, so since we don't know her birthday, but based off of like everything that we've collected about like just how she's growing, when she lost her baby teeth, so she's probably a later summer baby. And she's currently injured and not really sound, so stop. So I can't really do a lot with her right now, but she got about 30 rides on her this year, and then I'm probably just gonna bring her back. No, okay, that was cute, but no, oh my god. I will probably bring her back if she's sound enough within the next month or so. By the time October comes, bring her back to work for probably until November and just get a good walk, trot, canter on her, and then turn her out for the winter, and then bring her back. And I'll probably start like expeditioning her next summer to fall, just so that I can get like a lot more exposure on her, because she was supposed to be in work for quite a bit longer than she has been. She's been off since July. But just because she is older, she was started later, I don't want to pressure her body, but I am going to pressure her body a little bit more than I have a 3-year-old. So yeah. So So I'm just gonna do a little bit of like age appropriate groundwork for her and just do a little bit of what we have been doing with her, basically. So yeah, usually I'll lunge her on a shoulder lead rope, but I have a pelvis injury and I don't feel like trying to hurt myself right now. So I'm just gonna ask her for a really normal sending her out and asking her to walk off. Here she did have a little bit of a struggle of not wanting to do it, and I'm not going to cut this out because this is completely normal for pretty much any horse. All my horses, especially my baby, are allowed to do this because they're still learning. Or in Bullet's case, he has major trauma with groundwork, so it's a really big struggle for him to understand certain things. Dakota and my other two horses favored the left side, so going to the right is not their strong suit, and they do struggle more that way. So I am just going to kindly keep encouraging her around that corner where she is really struggling to move off. And then I am going to ask for stopping, which she does really good. So when she does stop, I always walk up to her and give her a pet and then send her back out. She did struggle sending back out this way for the first few times, but I'm just going to let that go and I'm just going to ask her and reward her when she does it. Another thing that I am not going to hide is actually having to correct my horse. She was repeatedly at least 10 times by now because these clips are pretty much cut out between a bunch of times of me walking and trying to correct her stopping on that corner. So I did get a little bit harsh and was like, yeah, this is not playing. And I did give her a little bit of a pop. I gave her a warning before and it didn't work, so I gave her a pop. And I don't think that's wrong. I think that that's just correcting her behavior, and she did correct her behavior after that. So here I just gave her another stop. Then I asked her to move out again, and she did have a little bit of a struggle moving out this way yet again. So I'm just going to ask her to move her shoulder towards me, and then I'm going to ask her to send herself back out, and I will move to her right side instead of asking her to turn herself in that direction, because that does help her like correct herself, and that does give her a little bit more, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That in the future she slowly can build that confidence to know what she's doing, but she's not like, oh my god, this is really scary in the future because she's been so pressured. I'm going to ask her for one more stop. I believe I asked her to stop 3 times and then send her out 3 times, and she was really understanding of like the stopping and the sending out. She does get better each and every single time that we do groundwork, since we do not do groundwork that often. She had a little itch there, so I let her itch herself, and then I asked her for the trot, which she was not very willing for the trot. She's still learning the trot. It's probably only been like 4 times of her trotting, which she did do really good considering everything. Besides the little tiny mistakes, I just kind of pull her back around and ask her to just relax. The last thing I'm going to do this way is I'm going to ask her to stop from a trot, exactly how I would for the walk, and then I'm going to instantly reward her and let her know that she did a good job. Here I am just sending her off to the left, which was a little bit of a struggle for her at first, but she did figure it out. So when she did give me a little bit of a release, I instantly pat her, let her know it was good, and I asked her again by moving a little bit more to her left side so she understood the assignment a little bit better, and she got it right away. And again, I'm just going to ask her to stop. It was a little bit out of frame, but I do instantly pat her again. And you can just easily tell that this way is her strong suits. It doesn't matter if I start her from the right or the left. The left is always going to look better than the right, and that's just something you're going to have to get over with for a lot of horses. Every horse does have their weaker side that they're going to struggle with more, and all of my horses that I currently own struggle more to the right. Another thing that I want to address is when I send her out, I do not want her to like drop her shoulder into me and point her hindquarters at me with her front quarters facing out. So here I want to tap her with my finger and just ask her to move that hindquarters out. She didn't quite get it, so I took my lunge glide and I just pressed it against her hindquarters until I got that release. Instantly released it, and she understood that she was just having a little bit of a mistake there that was corrected. Now I'm going to ask her into her trot to the left side, and she does need a little bit of encouragement because she is still very, very inexperienced in this. but she did do really good. We did take a little bit of a trip walking over the tarp, but she did behave very, very well, and I'm just going to ask her for a really nice stop and instantly reward her. She's also starting to learn to face in towards me whenever being asked to stop, and that is something that I really like my horses to do. And really quickly, I just want to go back to the right, so I sent her off to the right, and she did really, really good and was really understanding that. Did need a little bit of encouragement to get on the right path, but she did really good. I just want to redo the right side and end on a good note because we did struggle quite a bit going to the right. So I'm just going to ask her for a couple quick stops and then a really quick trot with a nice stop. So I'm just going to do the same thing over. One of the last things I'm going to do working with her today is I'm going to kind of just show you some of the things that I've done desensitizing her. So starting off with fly spray, I do not know why, but she is obsessed with fly spray. Like, she will stand all day to be fly sprayed. She does love water, so I think that's part of it. But I will fly spray my horses, put tarps on them, walk underneath them, pick their feet up, and move their feet all around for like the farrier in case, or a chiropractor, or just needing to be stretched. Picking her tail up, like touching her ears, her mouth, anything. So just really desensitizing my horses to basic things that they're going to need the rest of their lives. And very lastly, I'm just going to work on a little bit of her groundwork and yielding and backing up, which is something that I find is appropriate for their age, but not too hard on their minds at that age. So I just ask her for a really nice yield around me, and then I'll ask her for a single yield where she just turns her hindquarters away from me without me moving, which she does kind of struggle with. So I will just go around and correct it. There she had a little bit of a struggle, so I'm just going to pull her back, and then I'm going to ask her to yield. When she does it, I'm going to release, and then I'm going to ask her again for another reassurance one before we end our session, and she did understand it, so I did let it go, and I gave her an instant reward. And lastly, I'm going to ask her to back up, which is something that is very important for a horse to know. I also do not treat train my horses whatsoever, but I will give them treats every once in a while. So that is honestly just my basic what I do with my baby currently and what I will be doing with her in the next couple months, years, and pretty much just the rest of her life. If anybody asks if I have the intentions to sell this filly, I do not. I have absolutely no reason to sell her. She's loved by everybody in my family. Literally nobody around here doesn't like her. Maybe my dad, but he just hates that she screams and yells 24/7 because she's a literal donkey, but we all love her and I don't have a reason to sell her. She's a perfect fit for us. She has a lot of potential in a lot of different directions, and she was a surprise baby for me. We didn't know she was coming pretty much until like a month before she was due, so it was just a whole entire surprise. She's a super special baby to me. She is also the first baby I've raised from the ground up and the first baby that was ever born on this property, so she is just really important and I don't have a reason to sell her. You know, I just bought that for you. Literally, I haven't even had it for like 48 hours. And you're gonna eat it? What's the feel for this video? I don't know, bro. Hey, take me to the bath. Wanna go to the bath? Hey. Hey, come on. Let's go get the bath. Give me it back. Come here. Come here back. I think she won't have an issue taking it, but... We'll give you a little bath. Oh, God. Like, malfunction, jeez. I'm making my dad back his thing. Oh, it's all soggy in that now. Roso. There's a gross out. Where's your arm? Yeah, there you are. Yeah. You're so pretty.